Well, a very good evening to you, and thank you for joining us on this particular overview. I'm here just to share my own thoughts, my own opinions, my own, I suppose, a little bit of due diligence that I've done on this project. I'm very willing just to share with you guys. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you any financial advice. I'm not an accountant, so I don't I have no skills in those areas at all. But what I've done is I've had a look at the company here, and I've very keenly looked into the talent behind the company, particularly the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer, a very talented gentleman. I've looked at the COO, and we'll talk about him as well, the Chief Operating Officer, Andrew Isaacs, another very talented gentleman, and many, many more. We'll take a look at that in a moment. And then what we're going to do is, after we've looked at the talent behind this company, we're going to then look at the products that they're offering to see is there anything of interest in that respect. And then we're going to finish this overview just for educational purposes, guys. Don't be relying on this. Do your own due diligence. Do make an informed decision. I always say seek professional advice when you're getting in any kind of business. If I was getting involved in a taxi business, I'd go and speak to one or two taxi owners. And I'd be asking them lots of questions like, tell me more about the taxi industry. How is it affected with the mobile apps available? Like, how does the likes of these other companies on the mobile apps affect your business? Tell me more about how hard it is to find drivers. Tell me more about licensing. What's the deal there? And also tell me a little bit about depreciation of vehicles and costs, and these types of things is what I'd want to know if I was going to start a taxi business. So similar here, if you're looking at this industry, it's very, I suppose, prudent to have a look in depth, seek professional advice before making any decisions. With that said, let's get on. Let's get on with this, and I'm happy just to share for educational purposes what I've found. Now, on this particular slide, which I found off the company website, it talks about 3 jurisdictions. I haven't checked recently, but I now know there are 4, and I'll talk about that in a moment, because recently we're told they have a license in Canada, but here it's talking about a neobank license in Europe. It's talking about an investment LLC established in the Emirates, and I can tell you this, that I have had sight of 2 licenses. One issued by the Dubai government, which I think was applicable up into March this year, and the renewal of that from March subsequently to next year. So I've actually seen that. I think I have a copy of it somewhere, but these are available in the company offices. They're on display. You can take photographs of them. There's people being there and taking photographs of them. So we have that at hand at least. And then the AURUM Foundation. And what we found out about the AURUM Foundation was that they do not have offices in Hong Kong. And there's been talk about that recently. They never said they had offices, but they do have a registration there. And sometimes these companies, I think all these big companies, they have is it called a holding company or some kind of structure? And then below that, they have special purpose vehicle companies below. These type of structures are not uncommon for many of the big brands that you guys know. Now let's take a look at the corporate talent, is what I call it, because Leonardo is from, I don't know where he's from. I think he's actually from Venezuela, but he's living in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And I know many people have met him. He was at events there for this company in Brazil. And this gentleman was handpicked by the CEO, Brian Benson. And his role is to run out the exchange. He has experience. He has a lot of experience in this industry. He was also a strategic or former Binance strategic partner, and he did work at government level in blockchain. So very, very talented guy, and a guy that Brian Benson, the CEO, handpicked this man for the job. Al Risky, I don't know much about this man. I do know that according to the internet, he is presenting the corporate presentations in Indonesia. So I assume he's from that region. He's head of partnerships, and I know lots of people have met him. I hadn't got an opportunity to meet him. They've taken photographs and selfies with him. Apparently, a real cool gentleman to know. Nicholas Kellen is from Australia. He's the head of partnerships. Again, young talent. He's got serious, I suppose, expertise in Web3, and that's quite interesting. Now, Brent and Tobias, these two gentlemen, they deal with VC advisory board. Now, what is VC? VC stands for venture capitalists. So that's for the big guys, the big corporate companies, maybe those companies that want to do 5 million or more. They would go through the VC advisory board of Tobias and Brent. I met one of them, I actually did, and the other one I saw on Zoom. Again, they were interviewed by a lot of the media companies. There are interviews available, and you can listen to their thoughts. These guys are incredible, I suppose, experts in the arena, in this area. But they also represent AURUM at certain events where maybe the CEO can't attend. These gentlemen would go and represent AURUM at these events. In terms of Africa, they've brought on board Bukari. Now, Bukari is the ex-deputy finance minister from Sierra Leone. That's a big, big title. I didn't do any homework on this man at all, but I'm sure it's correct. The Bukari, Chief of African Relations, you can see there, he's actually the CEO of a company called Clink Mining, C-L-I-N-Q, Clink Mining. And that would talk about mining gold bullion, 24 karat gold bullion. But he has 25 plus years in finance and banking. On the right hand side of your screen, we've got Nick Patel, obviously of I suppose, Indian origin. And again, another 25 years of in global finance. And of course, Nick is the CEO, the chief executive operator of Bank of Bullion. Again, we're talking about gold. So now we're going to learn that there's something to do with gold in around this opportunity. But the main guy is Brian Benson. He's from United States. He has a U.S. passport. We've seen that. He did his schooling in Santa Barbara, which is in California. And once he left university, he went straight into the bank. And he worked for a very big brand, a very big bank, a very reputable bank called Morgan Stanley. And he became a trader over at Morgan Stanley. But when he left the bank and left Morgan Stanley, he got involved in Web3 and cryptocurrency. And this was a very interesting project. He was very, very keen to learn and understand this. And I think he has become the master because he was hired by Binance. Now, everybody knows who Binance is, probably the largest and foremost centralized exchange on the planet today. Very successful company. It did $1 billion in its first 6 months. I'll say that again. Binance did $1 billion in its first 6 months. That was faster than Microsoft, faster than Apple, faster than Tesla, faster than Amazon. This company, Binance, did $1 billion. And this man on the screen, his region attributed to almost 20% of that revenue based on the region that this man controlled. Now, he was the managing director for LATAM, L-A-T-A-M. It's I think it's an abbreviation for Latin America. Brian dealt with everywhere from Mexico, just on the border with the United States, the whole way south of Central and South America. So this man opened Brazil for Binance. This man opened Argentina, Chile, Peru, Colombia, Bolivia, everywhere in between. And with that came a lot of experience. And he is now the CEO of AURUM. We're going to listen to him in a moment. But it tells us that they have a man with reputation, a man with skill, a man with, I would say, good intentions. His parents were missionaries. And they left United States when Brian was young, and they went south to Peru. And Brian then came back up to United States for his education, and we're back to the story here. So a very nice man, and a very hardworking man. If you Google him, you'll find him everywhere. He comes with great reputation. There are images here when he's much younger looking. There are images here as he appears today. So what does that tell us? That tells us there's history. There's history about this man. He's not, he's not some kind of actor. He is the Brian Benson from Binance. And you can see him here with Binance shirts on his the Binance name there on his t-shirt, and over here I think this looks like a long sleeve, but this is the real Brian Benson. Now, to type in his name, B-R-Y-A-N, make sure you're doing that if you're doing some homework. B-R-Y-A-N, Brian Benson. So my search was Brian Benson Binance, and then I pressed images because I wanted to see, is this the same man on the corporate profile? And I was pleasantly surprised to see, yes, this is the Brian Benson. Now, Forbes have written positively about this opportunity. Forbes is a very reputable media company. In fact, at one point, they had put Brian Benson on what they called their finance council, the Forbes Finance Council. This is a big accolade. This is big, big recognition because obviously Forbes know who he is. Forbes are happy to endorse a man of such reputation. The next interesting thing was we learned that Visa and MasterCard have some kind of relationship here too. And how do we know that? Because we've been told that some of their customers have these Visa cards, and the Visa cards have not only the Visa name on it, they've got the AURUM name. And I think the only rule was that the AURUM name cannot be bigger in print than the Visa name. I think that was the deal. And it's very, very difficult to get your name on a Visa card. I mean, obviously, the issuing bank who issues these cards know who Brian Benson is. They must know who the directors are. I'm sure they asked for, hey guys, let's see last year's accounts. Let's see your licenses. I'm sure they've done their due diligence. And that might give some people confidence to think, well, if there's Visa attached to this or MasterCard attached to this, there's potentially something very, very strong here. Let's get back to Brian. Brian Benson traveled the world, and he speaks at all the major blockchain conferences. He speaks on stage. Well, here's Richard Teng. He's the CEO of Binance. Now, Richard and Brian are buddies. They're friends. They work together in Binance. But Richard Teng got the CEO job, and Brian didn't. And I've been told that people are happy that Brian Benson did not get that role over in Binance. Otherwise, maybe the AURUM opportunity wouldn't be as strong as it is. Justin Sun, he was the gentleman that created Tron, if you've heard of Tron, and many, many legends here. But this is the largest conference on the planet to do with Web3, blockchain, Token 2049. It was held in the Marina Bay Sands in Singapore. That was at the same time the Formula One was on. What was interesting was 25,000 people showed up to see this. 25,000 people. And I was told on the last day of this event, I think it ran maybe for 3 or 4 days, but on the last day, the tickets were selling at $1,400 for entry. Now that's an incredible ticket price. I mean, think about your favorite rock band, your favorite pop band, whatever you like in music. Would you pay $1,400 for a ticket for the best band in the world? Like to go and see Brian Benson? Who's going to pay this? So it tells you that this man is a man of credibility, a man of expertise. Like, who would pay to go and see him? He's, it's just incredible. And I think there's content of what he discussed on stage at his speech, all to do with AURUM and AI. He speaks a lot about AI finance. And then he traveled the world. He was in London. He went to the Netherlands. He went to Germany, Greece. Where did he go to? I think Luxembourg. Did I say Germany? He went to Vietnam, Hong Kong, and he ended up in the Emirates. He spoke both in Abu Dhabi and also in Dubai. He's been interviewed by Cointelegraph, Benzingo, all the major, I suppose, crypto platforms. He was interviewed by Wendy O. I mean, this is something you should listen to her questions and, more importantly, listen to Brian Benson's answers. And then we see him here on stage as a panel of 5 experts on stage. We have Brian Benson, second from your right-hand side if you're looking at this, Brian Benson. But look who he's sitting next to. Brian Benson from AURUM is sitting next to the co-founder and the chief OO, the Chief Operating Officer of Sandbox. Now, Sandbox is a major platform. 1inch is another very big crypto platform. Anton is the co-founder. But to have Brian Benson considered as an expert, and he, the CEO of AURUM, it would tell you that the talent in this company would appear to be quite good. Now, Brian Benson was also invited to the Satoshi Roundtable. Again, this is another private event. Where was it held? I'm going to miss it if I start thinking of the name of this hotel. The Waldorf Astoria in the Marina Palms in Dubai. They take over the whole hotel. No media get in here. All the experts in cryptocurrency. Now, I would imagine people like BlackRock. Well, actually, I know BlackRock were there, Binance were there. But these experts locked down that hotel. They take over the accommodation, the restaurants, the function rooms, and they discuss blockchain, AI, these type of subjects. They kind of future the industry at these special round Satoshi roundtable events. Brian Benson was invited to that, and here we have him with his arm around the billionaire. Yes, on the right hand side of your screen, we have the billionaire who created Binance. And now that tells us that we are dealing with the real Brian Benson. And that's an incredible accolade. Recently, when I say recently, I'm going to say early, mid to early 2026. In came Andrew Isaacs. Now, Andrew Isaacs is the chief operating officer, the COO, probably second in command. This man, in my humble estimation, is actually too well qualified for AURUM. And why do I say that? He's got 18 years experience in investment banking. He looks like a young fresh man there. And he is. There's many videos there of him. But this man handled 23 billion in executed transactions. That's almost like a hedge fund with $23 billion of volume going on. And this man is now the CEO of AURUM. Now, AURUM's trading volumes are somewhere between 150 million to 600 million, is what I'm told. Between 150 million and 600 million. This guy did 23 billion, so much more. So AURUM must be a tiny little thing for him. And obviously, he also did 2 billion in digital asset deals. Where did Andrew Isaacs come from? Morgan Stanley. Same as Brian Benson, Morgan Stanley originating this man as well. So that's, I suppose, enough about the corporate, other than to say we've learned that they have a Canadian license. I haven't seen that license at all. I do see reference to a company they've registered in Canada, in British Columbia. I can see the company name here, BC 1571382, and that's registered and reflected in the registry in North Vancouver. So that might suggest that these guys are preparing for regulation. They're preparing to enter the North American marketplace. I would assume after the license has been granted, they'd probably configure offices maybe, and then maybe the next step with the lawyer's approval would be to enter that market zone. And again, I've been told also that the Canadian lawyers are also dealing with the US lawyer team as well, in preparing the North American marketplace. But right now, I don't believe they do business over there. I think they're blocking those markets until they have full approval, and that's good to see that a company is taking these lengths, are taking legislation seriously. So again, legislation changes around the world. There's different countries, different jurisdictions. There's new laws coming out in 1st of July. To do with Europe. I'm not in Europe, but there are new European laws coming out. I haven't read them, but they're going to do things with the likes of USDT. So in a centralized exchange, my understanding is if you're using a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Binance, they're going to do away with USDT and you have to use USDC instead. It's just the same type of thing, but a little bit different. So I think that's the only change. But there'll be other rules and regulations around that as well. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't give any advice on that either. What I'd like to do now is just move towards some of the products that they're putting in place. They have this point of sale terminal. I've actually seen this working. The one I saw wasn't as nice as this. This is very, very sleek looking, very, very nice looking. The one I saw was typical that you would see in any shop today. You know, the bigger point of sale terminal you tap your card on with all the buttons on it. This seems very like modern, but the one I saw did work. It worked wirelessly and it accepted payments. The idea is this accepts not just fiat payments, it can also accept cryptocurrency payments. So that's a great thing for in the future for shops to accept fiat and crypto when that all rolls out. They're also designing ATM machines, which is quite interesting as well, where you can put in crypto. Like from your digital application, you can give that to the machine, and the machine will go and spit out your national currency. It can also do the opposite, like a vending machine. You can put the money into the machine, the paper money into the ATM, and generate crypto to your wallet. So it's going to be a two-way machine, is my understanding. They have an exchange. This is a centralized exchange. This will require KYC for certain withdrawals and stuff. This has been up and running from November 2025 without a glitch. That's my understanding. Without a glitch since November 25, this has been operating. I would have no call for something like this, but this is where you would change, say, Bitcoin to dollars, dollars to when I say USDT or USDC, maybe is the new way. It'll also, if you have Ethereum and you wanted to swap it, so you can do all of those type of things. I'm not sure, can you trade on it? You probably can. I guess maybe you can, but I'm told it works perfectly without any glitches. What's interesting is that Brian Benson has promised to offer 50%. Can you read here? Huge commissions up to 50%. So unlike the likes of Binance, who probably wouldn't give you anything, Brian Benson is going to offer 50% of the commissions back to the community that used this particular exchange. So that's up and running as it is. But on it, there is an interesting product called Liquidity Staking, where you can get 17 to 20% a year on your money. 17 to 20%. Now, 17 to 20% is incredible. That's better than any bank that I know of. And that's even better than property or real estate. In the real estate world, you would get maybe 5% a year, or maybe if you're lucky with a good property or a good tenant, you might get 10% maximum. But here, they're purporting figures of 17. Did I see 17? There it is, 17 for XRP, and up to 20% on your money. Now that's incredible. Let's say you had Solano sitting on a wallet doing nothing, or sitting on an exchange doing nothing, or USDT or Bitcoin. By putting it to the liquidity staking product, they're going to add extra Bitcoin to your account every day. They're going to add Ethereum every day. They're going to add Solana every day to those accounts. So even though it's an annual yield, they pay it daily to your account with no lock-in. What does that mean? Well, when I researched staking, I thought staking meant you staked it for a period of time, like 30 days or 6 months or a year. You had to lock it up for a period of time and get a reward. Well, not with this. This is instant liquidity staking, so you can put it in today and take it out tomorrow. Your profit, your principal, any amount. So I thought that was a pretty cool product. I'd like you now to listen to Brian Benson himself, just for a moment, please. He talks about, this is part of a larger interview. I just want to give you one or 2 minutes here. Brian Benson saw lots and lots of people becoming very wealthy when he worked at Binance. And he wants now to create 1,000 millionaires here at AURUM. So let's have a listen to him for 1 minute to hear what he has to say.
We're on a mission to create 1,000 millionaires that don't have $1 million today.
Let's say that again, Brian.
We're on a mission to create 1,000 millionaires that don't have $1 million today. So if we can come up with a system whereby there's, hundreds of thousands of people in there, but 1,000 of these people turn into millionaires, then those assets are inside of our platform. That turns us into a unicorn right away. And so that's really the goal that I have as an executive at the company, is how do we get people that don't have $1 million today to get them to $1 million through saving, through yield-bearing assets, through a lot, compounding interest, through a lot of these things that have been around for a long time, but that not everyone in the world uses. And these are tools that are super important to get us there. So that's how we're measuring it internally, is if we can get to the point where we have 1,000 people that have become millionaires through our system and through working with our products, then that gets us really close to the unicorn valuation. And we want to be a fintech unicorn. I think Binance was the fastest fintech unicorn ever in the history. Yeah. I think it took less than 6 months. We used to have a slide about that in our pitch deck. So I'm pretty sure I've done this before. I've been involved in one of the fastest growing fintech unicorns in the world. And I think what we have at AURUM is actually very similar to when I started at Binance.
So I hope you were listening to that. He said he's done this before. And what he means is he's developed a massive customer base, massive revenue and turnovers with Binance. And he also said at the end there, I think what we have at AURUM is very similar to when he started at Binance. So I think Brian Benson is starting to feel that energy, starting to feel that momentum, that growth here at the AURUM platform. Now, let's talk about how an account would be created. You would receive a referral link from one of their reps. When you click on that link, you fill in some details, and it's not for free. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to understand. It's not for free. There's no free rides. There is a subscription-based model, just like paying a subscription for TV or for Netflix, or paying a subscription for the gym. Yeah, you would pay a subscription. The subscription for AURUM is 19.99 USDT or USDC. That's $20 for the year. So it's not expensive, but at the same time, it's not free. And as you pay that as subscription, that will give you access to their products. So my understanding is that, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm guessing you're not either. So you're not allowed to give any guarantees, warranties. You're not allowed to sell financial products. You're not allowed to sell, what do they call them, securities. So what's happening here is it's a bit like you can promote Amazon. You can promote, let's say, YouTube. You can promote these websites. Here you can promote the $20 website, but you can't sell products or services because you don't have any. When your customer pays that subscription to AURUM, they deal directly with AURUM and not you, because you can't supply Visa cards, you can't supply gold bullion, you can't supply real estate in their real world assets, you can't supply the exchange, you can't supply any of their AI agents. And the other thing I have to say is nobody gets paid. So if you recruit someone, you're not going to get paid either. So there's no incentive to recruit here, and that's very, very important. Some countries don't like the fact that if you were incentivized to recruit someone, you would get paid for it. That's not the case. The lawyers have adopted a platform like, I think the company was Amway. It's about 70-year-old company. It's been around for a long, long time. They charge $35 subscription to be one of their distributors, and nobody gets paid. There's no payout for this at all. However, if one of your customers decided to onboard and use a product or buy a product, then you're generating a commission, then you're generating a revenue. But for recruiting, they pay nobody. All of that money stays with the company. And that's very important, I think, because, let's say they put on 1 million customers. I have no idea, but let's say it was 1 million customers. Well, there's $20 million. And that will do for their support systems, that will do for their web development, for their product development, for their processing, for their, whatever they have to do. So that would keep the company healthy. Then once you have access, as I said, to these products, you can start using some of their products if you wish. And again, that's down to your discretion. Now, some of the products available, we did talk about point of sale terminals, ATM machines. Did we mention gold? We mentioned it lightly. We didn't discuss it much, but they've a quite a variety of products, possibly in the region of 15 different products. This one is called the XAI bot or the EXI bot, and this one's been around since January 2023. So it's quite a product that's been around for quite a long time. And all that would say is, well, it would appear to be sustainable if it's already been here for about 3 years. Now, on average, this product is doing about 17.5% a month. And I thought that was very high. 17.5% a month sounds strange. But when it was explained to me, and I'll give you that explanation in a minute, it sounds quite reasonable now. In 2023, the results were up and down. Maybe they did 18% one month, and the next month it dropped down to 12%. And then the next month they did 17%, it went way up, and the next month it went way down to 9%. So it was up and down, up and down. Even though it was positive, it was fluctuating. It was, I would call it rocky or bouncy. And they said to me, well, that volatility, in the marketplace can make these changes. But once they paid what was called Bloomberg, there's this feed you can buy or subscribe and get a Bloomberg feed. When the Bloomberg feed was fed into the AI agents, the results became better. The results became more consistent. You can see here for 2025, it did 15%, then 17, 17, 17, 17, 16. 17, 18, 18, 17, 17, 17. So that's very, what I would call consistent versus up and down. And the performance in 26, I don't have those figures, but I think it's very, very, very similar to that as well. Now, of course, those percentages are not available to any customer. You're not going to get 17, 18, 19%. You're not getting that at all. What customers get is determined by the deposit they have in their own account. So think of this a bit like you could say it's a bit like a neobank account. You can deposit what you want. Let's say you tried, I don't know, $130. If you wanted to test this with $130, it would fall into the first category. You see where it says basic between 100 and 249? So let's say you tried 130, it's going to fall in the middle here, right? Those accounts, I'm told, are enjoying about 10% a month. There or thereabouts. So if a customer can do more than 249 and less than $1,000, it will fall into the 11% category. For customers that can do between $1,000 and $2,499, those customers are enjoying benefits of in around 12%. Now, it's not fixed, it's variable because the markets move, the markets change. But based on the past performance of the bots and the AI agents, these are the numbers that they're talking about. Again, past performance is not indicative of any future results. Markets can change, cryptocurrency is volatile. You have to be aware of all of these things. But I had a number of questions about this product. And my first question was, how does the company make money if they're paying out all this money to their customers? I mean, where does the company get its profits? And they told me the answer's on the screen. And when they told me that, I said, what do you mean the answer's on the screen? They said, well, have a look here. The average projected company profitability is about 17.5%. So if your account, for instance, was getting 10%, the company makes the spread. They make that difference. They're making 7% on all of those customers. And most of the customers are small customers like that. The next category of customers are getting 11%, the company's making 6%. For those customers that enjoy 12%, the company makes 5%. For those customers that get 13, the company makes 4. So in every instance, the company was always making money. And I thought that's very, very important, for a company to hang around, to be around. It's got to be solvent. It's got to have profitability in itself. So I did some research again, and I asked a guy who is a trader, I said, how do these systems work? And he told me, in trading, that's normally how it is. It's usually a profit share. It could start like 60-40%, where the customer gets 60%, and the trading team would take 40% of the profits they generate for their efforts and for their time and for their expertise. Some customers can negotiate 70-30. So the customer would get 70% and the company would take 30. And then I was told for the accredited investors, those big, what do you call them? Hedge funds, those big guys, they get 80% of the profits, and the trading team would take 20%. So I suppose the bigger accounts get a better deal, and that's the way it is in life. It seems to be the people that have the money get more money. That's normally how it works. But anyway, I had other questions, and my next question was, what was my next question? I asked them, yes, these profits that you're getting, can you take these profits out? And they said yes. And I said, when? And they said, whenever you want. And I said, what does that mean? I mean, could I take the profit out every day if I wished? And they told me I could. So that was good. You can take out the profits every day. My next question was, what were the fees? Is it expensive? Do they charge? Because I've been told there's platforms there that would charge 8% or 10% to withdraw the money. And I said, that sounds very ridiculous. They said, it is ridiculous because AURUM charge 1%. It's a handling fee. It's a fair enough fee to close down trades, to close down positions, to move funds around, to make these payouts. They said, we charge 1%. So I thought that was quite fair. But anyway, again, this is not financial advice. It's just educating you on how the system has been explained to me. I was able to get my hands on some accounts to share with you guys, just to have a look at it. This particular account started, where do we see the start date? Over here on the left-hand side. So look down on the left. It says created on the 17th of April, 2025. And we're told that the customer put in $500 to test this particular product. But I couldn't see $500. I saw, look here, 882. And the reason it was 882 is because the $500 traded up to 882. So in fact, this account made 382. So 500 was the deposit, and we can see 882. The profit at that point was 382. Now, my question was, how long did it take to get from 500 to 882? And I was told again the answer's on the screen. So if you look on the bottom right hand side at 9:36 in the evening, 21:36 on the 17th of September, this is when this screen grab was provided. So we can now know that this is a 5-month track record, because if the account was created on the 17th of April and we're looking on the bottom right at the 17th of September, that's exactly 5 months. And when you check the percentage, it's extraordinary, because to work out the percentage, you take the profit of 382, you put it on top of the principal, which was the 500. And how I was taught at school was you divide the bottom number into the top number and multiply by 100. And when you divide 500 into 382 profit, it works out at 76% in 5 months. And I thought that was exceptional for a very small account like 500. Now, maybe somebody thinks that's a large account, but I mean, you can have accounts less than that. But I thought it was a very good results. You know, if you're in real estate, you wouldn't get 76% in 5 months. You might get 10% in a whole year. 10% in a year would be good. 76% in 5 months, I thought was pretty sharp. All right. I was also able to check out a larger account, and this account is probably for an accredited investor type or maybe a business owner. This one started with $10,000. Now, it doesn't say $10,000. It says, where did I see it? 12,360. Can you see here? 12,360. It did start at 10,000, and we're looking at 12,360. So it made 2,360. Can you see in the green? It made $2,360. So my question was, how long did it take to go from 10,000 to 12,000? The answer is on the screen, because the start date was the 10th of April 2025. Look there, 10th of April 2025. Now go to the bottom right, the 16th of May 2025. So 10th of April to 10th of May is 1 month. And the 10th of May to the 16th of May is 6 days. So this account was 1 month and 6 days. Allow me to round that up, please, to 5 weeks. This account made $2,360 in 5 weeks. In terms of a percentage, that's 23%. Why? Well, 10,000 becoming 12,360 is 23.6%. There's it there. From the 10th of April to the 16th of May, 23%. Phenomenal. Phenomenal result. After 10 weeks, this same account jumped up another $3,000 in profit. It went from 12,360 up to 15,500. That's an extra what? $3,000. So we're now looking at 10 weeks, because we're looking at the 24th of June. Look at the right hand side here. After 12 weeks, it went up to 17,000, so it made another $2,000. And after 4 months, this particular account doubled. That's right, it did 103% from the 10th of April to the 10th of August. Is 4 months, isn't it? April, May, June, July, August, 4 months. Incredible results. We can see the timestamp here on the right hand side. Now, I'm not here to tell you your account's going to do that. I have no clue. But what I'm saying is this is real data offered by a customer, and it represents exactly what happened for this particular customer. Again, past performance is not indicative of future results. What I did notice was that this customer has the reinvestment button on. Can you see this white circle inside a green slider? This is the prerogative of the customer to turn on or turn off. Okay, when you have an account, it's not on. In other words, every day your profits go to your account to withdraw, unless you decide, hey, I don't want to withdraw those profits. I want them to stay inside Binance, for example. I'd like the profit and the principal to work together tomorrow. And therefore, you can get that compounded effect when profit and principal are stuck together to bigger profits tomorrow. And then you add it again, bigger profits the next day. Now, that's why I assume this account did so well. The customer was not expecting it to do as well as this, but it done phenomenally well because the reinvestment button was engaged. Again, that's the customer's choice. Anyway, um, I couldn't believe these figures. I said, this sounds ridiculous. This is big money, and it's because we're conditioned. We're conditioned to the world we live in. When the banks are offering 1 or 2% in a year, it's very difficult to understand how trading works and how these numbers can be generated. But my understanding is that the banks themselves are doing this in the background. They're taking your money, they're either trading it or lending it out to other customers. They charge them the money to borrow the money. They charge them big premiums. Like if you've got bad credit, the bank will charge you 17%. You know, um, if you've got good credit, they might charge you 5, 6, 7, or 8%. You know, but they don't give the customer who owns the money any. They give you 1 or 2%. So it's a crazy world, and that's why we don't understand these big numbers. But here's how it was described to me. Here's a website called CoinMarketCap. This is nothing to do with AURUM. This is a third-party validated website. It's well trusted. People understand it. People use it as an indicator. It kind of gives you the average balance on different coins. For instance, if Bitcoin was $70,000 on one exchange, but on another exchange it was 70,200, or on a different exchange it was 69,900, because on different exchanges the prices can marginally be different. This coin market cap aggregates that to give you an average. So you want to find out the price of Bitcoin. There's it there. There's where it is roughly today. Now, also, you can see here that this coin Dogo did 2,090% in one day. Why do we know? 24 hours. In one day, this account did 2,000%. The one below it, Elevate, did 800%. Look down here at Pepe Trump, 400% in a day, in a single day. For any of these results, they would have to do 1%, and followed by 2 and 3 and 5 and 10%, and then 20%, then 100%, then 200%, then 1,000%. When the AI can see these movements, they can go in and grab a trade. They can go in and test it. If we do this, we hold it for 10 seconds or 1 minute, where does it go to? Okay, that worked positively. And they can test that 2 or 3 times and then go in for a real trade. It's called high frequency spot trading. The AI agents only need to get a little bit of this profit. So when they see a trend moving, because all of these coins had to move, like this one here, Pepe Trump, it had to start at 1%, 2%, 23%, 50%, 100%, 200%. Then the AI might decide, hey, let's go in and take a piece of that profit. And they only need to take like 0.5%. Because if AURUM's doing 10 to 15% in a month, that would seem feasible when some coins can do 2,000% in a day. Does that make sense? That's how it was described to me. Anyway, moving on from that, that's called the EXI bot. I believe it's their most, I think the customers like that one the best. They do have other ones. They have lots of them. They have one called the EXI Pro bot. They have one called the Zeus bot. They have a new one called the Nero bot. These are all products that are up and running. Some are operating on decentralized channels. I think they're going to move everything to decentralized. I think EXI bot, all of them will move where your wallet is attached to a decentralized smart contract, so you can have better control of your own funds. Rather than sending it centralized to somewhere, they're going to function in a decentralized fashion. I know the Zeus bot works on Telegram, which is a decentralized communication channel. That Nero bot, that new one, is doing very well, and there's some promotions running around that. I don't have, I haven't used it, but it's the reports that I'm hearing is it's doing very well as well. Anyway, there are many products, and I suppose what I wanted to do was give you an overview. The Visa card is incredible right now. There's only one available. It's available in physical and digital version. The physical one's hard to get, so don't be thinking you're going to get one of those unless you attend one of their events, or unless you're in the vicinity of their offices and you organize to pick one up. So they're not posting them out, is my understanding. I think some people get them, but they do have a virtual version, and that can be set up in 2 minutes. You can get one of them in 2 minutes. They don't ask for a passport. They don't ask for a driver's license. They don't ask for a bank statement. They don't ask for a utility bill. You can get a Visa card, and it can be attached to your phone, where you can double click a button and tap it, and you can take your profits from the trading onto a Visa card. You can turn your cryptocurrency into fiat money on a Visa card and spend the money. And lots of people are having success with that. I'll just show you one of the cards working here. This is a card that was issued in June 2025 into the UK. I think this is the first transaction in the UK. If not, it's maybe the second. Have a listen to this.
Here we go then, second official transaction.
No, it's purple and white. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Mina.
There we go. Imagine being able to spend cryptocurrency in the local grocery store, buying milk, paying car parking fees, paying your toll bridge, paying your mortgage. That facility is available. So the virtual card is easy to get. The physical card is very difficult to get. So anyway, that said, that's the presentation over. I just wanted, somebody asked me just could I give my own thoughts, my own overview, my own opinions, and I said I would do that for you. So again, do your own research, do your own due diligence, seek professional advice, and I hope the decision you come up to is the right one for you and your family. Now, somebody did ask me, would I be able to give you an overview on the affiliate program? So for those of you who'd like to stay on, I'm happy to do that. For those of you just wanted to learn a little bit about the company and some of the products that they offered, that's it over. For those of you who'd like to hear a little bit about the affiliate program, I'll give me a couple of minutes and I'll run you past that. It's quite easy and quite simple. Affiliate programs are very popular today. I know that Apple has one. Yeah, if you go to Apple's website, go to the bottom of the page, click Apple affiliate link. And simply, if you enjoyed Apple products and you share that affiliate link with somebody else, Apple will give you a bonus for promoting their products. It's simple like that. You see, these companies spend money on television, on radio, on magazines, on newspapers. They also spend it on Facebook marketing, and they spend it on Google advertisements, right? And if you clicked on a Google ad and that brought a customer, Google get paid. Yeah. If they click on your link, you get paid. So there's probably nobody better to promote any product or service than an existing happy customer. And people do it every day of their lives. You promote television programs, you promote holiday destinations, you promote car mechanics, you promote accountants, hairdressers, you promote music. I like this song, I like that song. I mean, we are walking advertising machines. By the clothes you wear, you're promoting something. Look, she likes Michael Kors. Look at him. He's a Hugo Boss man. Look, there's a Tommy Hilfiger guy. Here's a Toyota guy. Here's a Range Rover guy. By the car you drive and the clothes you wear, you're promoting a brand. You're telling people, I like this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be wearing it. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be driving it. So simply, when AURUM decided to do this, for the first year and a half, they didn't do this. For the first year and a half, from January 23 to September 24, that's about a year and a half, they didn't have an affiliate program. They only decided to create an affiliate program because Binance had one. They're big guys. Apple had one. And Amazon is the biggest affiliate program. So they decided to copy these companies. And this affiliate program is very, very simple. It's free. That's good news to the ears. It doesn't cost anything. They don't want any money for it. So how it works is, if you have an account with them, they give you a referral link, and either you use it or you don't. If you don't use it, no harm. If you do use it, then you can make some bonuses. That's simply what it is. It's an affiliate program. It's not a multi-level thing. They don't do that. It starts off, you start as a Nova. Nova means new. And if somebody used your referral link to try this EXI bot, in particular, you're going to get a 3% thank you bonus. Now, you won't get rich. 3% of $100 is $3. If you get 2 customers, you're going to get another $3. Or if one of your customers did another $100 next month, you get another $3. So you're not going to get rich. And you can have 1 customer or 2 or 10 or 10,000. You can have as many as you want. It's an affiliate program. If you're an influencer, you can have 100,000 customers. And you don't have to have any customers either. It's not obligatory. It's just optional. Now, of course, if you'd like more than 3%, well, then you need to have 7,500 of total team trading volume in the EXI bot. Okay, so maybe your customer only has $100, or maybe you have two customers and they have $100 each trading. But one of those customers tells a customer, and they tell a customer, and they tell a customer, just like Facebook grows, you know, maybe when the total of all of the customers trading is 7,500, you get promoted to, they call it Voyager, and you get 5% now instead of 3. So that's better. You're getting a pay rise. So you get 5% on all your own personal customers' deposits. But if one of your customers found a customer, and they didn't even have to tell you about it, let's say one of your customers found a new customer, they get 3% because they found them, they used their referral link. But because you're on Voyager, you get 2% because they're paying out 5. They get 3 for introducing, you get 2. You don't even know who the customer is because you've got that overriding. So if it's your own customer, you get 5. If it's somebody else's, you get 2%. To infinity generations. Doesn't matter how many customers come in. As long as you're the only overriding Voyager, you're getting 2% on every deposit to infinity generations. All right? There are no levels like 7 levels or 10 levels. It's unlimited. Now, you also get a $100 extra bonus, USDT, instantly credited to your account. I would assume it's probably going to be USDC in the near future. I'd say from January or from July the 1st, 26, when the new laws change, I think it'll be USDC, not USDT. You're also going to get 5% every day on the profits generated by all of your customers, unlimited levels deep. So your customers and theirs and theirs and theirs, the whole way down, you're getting 5% of every. It's a daily matching bonus of 5% on the profits. So that's pretty incredible. Now, if you'd like more than 5%, let's say you would like 7%. To get 7%, you have to reach the rank of Vanguard. To reach the rank of Vanguard, you now require 25,000 of total team sales volume. Total team, not just your frontline customers, all customers in the organization. And that includes the 7.5. So you don't need a new 25,000. It's when the 7,500 grows to a total of 25,000 of total team trading. You also require 2 Voyagers in your structure. Now, here's the good news. You don't need to find those superstars. Them Voyagers could appear anywhere in depth. Maybe one on your 4th generation, maybe one down on the 11th. As long as they're in 2 separate legs, you've got 2 Voyagers, you've got 25,000. You have to have a personal contribution there as well. That gets you 7% on your own customers. And if they find a customer, they get 3, you get 4% now. So you've increased the differential. It's a differential plan. You also get an instant bonus of 500 USDC, and then your daily matching bonus on the profits of all customers in the community. You're getting 7.5% every day on all of the profits that they're making. Now, if there's a Voyager on the line, they're going to get 5%, you're going to get 2.5%. It's the difference. But if there's no Voyager, you're getting 7.5% to infinity generations on all the profits. And if you've understood what I've said in those few minutes, you probably understand 70 or 80% of this compensation plan. Very, very simple. If you'd like 9%, you just need more volume and a little bit of structure. If you'd like 13.5%, you need more volume in the total structure and a little bit of ranking structure as well. These cash bonuses are also quite interesting. There's a $1,000 bonus, a 2,000, 5,000, and 10,000 USDC bonus instantly. You don't ask for it. You don't wait for it. It's not paid out at the end of the week or the end of the month. It's paid out instantly by smart contract to your account as soon as the rank is achieved. In fact, they have 15 ranks. On the screen here, we have 7. There's another page with 8 more ranks. The next rank is what they call elite. Those customers are getting 20,000 USDC. $20,000 instant bonus. Magnets get 50,000. Mythos get 100. Now it gets crazy. Legends get 150. And if you'd like to be one of Brian Benson's millionaires, you need to go to the rank of Dominion. And unquestionably, you're one of Brian Benson's millionaires. We heard him talk earlier. He said, I want to create 1,000 millionaires. I want to generate $1 billion brand. I've done this before. I think what we have here at AURUM is similar to Binance. This is what he said. He wants to create 1,000 millionaires. Well, that's up to you, not up to him. If you move through those ranks and you hit that Dominion rank, I have no doubt you'd be a millionaire because look, there's that bonus in itself is $500,000, plus 150, plus 100, plus 50, plus 20, plus what we showed on the first page, plus all of these direct bonuses, plus all these matching bonus, plus these shareholder bonus. I'm not here to give you the full overview. You can learn more about that. They do trainings from times to times. Again, don't be misled that high earnings are easily achieved. This takes work. This isn't easy. This takes commitment. This takes effort. But I do believe if somebody else can do it, then possibly so can you. So that's my presentation over. I've taken maybe 40, 50 minutes of your life. Again, it's just my own thoughts and my own opinions. It's not any financial advice. It's here just to share with you my thoughts, my feelings about it, my understanding about it. But again, seek professional advice, do your due diligence, get your very valid questions answered. And of course, I hope the decision you come up with is the right one for you and for your family. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.